In the dawn of time, when the winds blew over untouched lands and the gods still walked among mortals, a race arose that defied the limits of creation. They were the giants, colossal beings whose brute strength and imposing presence echoed like thunder across the plains of Canaan. They ruled with an iron fist, and their name was synonymous with power and terror. Among them, one name stood out, reverberating like a dark echo through the ages: Goliath, the most feared giant of all, a champion whose fame transcended the boundaries of time. But even the greatest titans have their days numbered. And at the height of his glory, Goliath fell, not at the hands of an army, but by a single man, a young shepherd boy named David, whose faith and courage defied fate. As Goliath's body fell on the battlefield, a pair of eyes watched him from a distance. They were the eyes of Lamech, his younger brother. While Goliath lived in the spotlight of fame, Lamech remained in the shadows, an introspective giant carrying the weight of a legacy he never chose. Lamech sought neither glory nor bloodshed. In his heart echoed a question, deeper and more disturbing than any battle cry: what is the purpose of our existence? As the giants around him cried out for vengeance, Lamech questioned the endless cycle of violence that seemed to define his race. And so, as the world prepared for yet another war, Lamech stood silently, a giant on the brink of a choice that could change everyone's fate. It was a day like any other in the giants' camp, until the roar of war echoed through the valley. Goliath, the most feared of the giants, advanced to confront the young shepherd David, whose audacity defied logic. Lamech, Goliath's younger brother, watched from afar, hidden among the rocks. His heart pounded, torn between pride in his brother and a dark foreboding he could not ignore. When the stone from David's sling struck Goliath, time seemed to stand still. Lamech watched the giant fall, his towering body crumbling like a defeated mountain. He wanted to rush to the battlefield to save his brother or avenge him there, but orders from above kept him chained. "Do not interfere," he was told. "This is Goliath's fate." The humiliation of defeat echoed among the giants like thunder, shaking their confidence and awakening an ancient hatred. But Lamech did not cry out or swear vengeance aloud. Silently, he absorbed the pain, transforming it into a cold flame that burned in his chest. As the other giants clamored for war, he disappeared into the shadows, his eyes shining with grim determination. There, in the darkness, Lamech made a promise to himself. The story would not end like this. He would not rest until his brother's honor was restored, even if it meant defying the gods themselves. Deep in a cave, forgotten by time, where sunlight had never dared to penetrate, Lamech found what no one else would dare seek. Amidst piles of bones and ancient ruins, his fingers traced the edges of a dusty parchment, whose words seemed to whisper forbidden secrets. It was an ancient prophecy, as old as the earth itself, that spoke of the origin of the giants. They were not mere fruits of chance, but descendants of the children of the fallen angels, celestial beings who once defied the heavens and were condemned to walk among mortals. The scroll revealed more, a legendary weapon, forged from the metal of the stars, capable of unleashing chaos or bringing redemption. A weapon that could destroy entire armies, change the course of wars, and rewrite the fate of nations. For Lamech, it was not just a tool of revenge, but a key to understanding the purpose of his race. Every step was calculated, every breath held, as he dodged enemies who hunted him without knowing what he carried with him. Not just a scroll, but the secret that could destroy or save a world on the brink of the abyss. Deep in the forest, where mist curled like a veil between the ancient trees, Lamech found something he had not expected: a human. Her name was Ayla, a healer whose hands held both the gift of healing and the weight of pain. She had lost everything to the giants: her family, her home, her future. Her eyes, cold as winter, revealed a wound that would never heal, fueled by a burning desire for revenge. When their paths crossed, the air between them was thick with distrust. Lamech, a giant, was the embodiment of everything Ayla hated, and she, a human, represented the world that Lamech so questioned. But fate, capricious and implacable, brought them together. He needed her knowledge of ancient magic, of the secrets that only the wise men of the human tribes kept. She, in turn, saw in him a rare opportunity, a giant willing to challenge his own race. It was in a moment of silent tension, under the pale moonlight, that Ayla revealed what Lamech had been seeking. The legendary weapon, forged from the metal of the gods, was hidden in an ancient temple under the control of the Philistines. A place protected by deadly traps and loyal guardians, where only the bravest or most desperate would dare enter. The alliance between them was fragile, a thread ready to snap at any moment. Two enemies, united by a common purpose, but separated by a chasm of hatred and distrust. And as they moved forward together, each carried an unspoken question. How much could they trust each other before betrayal tore them apart forever? By the dim light of flickering torches, Lamech and Ayla entered the Forbidden Temple, a place where time seemed to have stood still eons ago. The walls, carved with ancient runes, whispered tales of a forgotten past, while the heavy air carried the scent of mystery and danger. Every step was a dance with death, for the temple was filled with deadly traps and mystical guardians, creatures made of shadow and fire, destined to protect humanity's most closely guarded secret. Together they forged ahead, overcoming challenges that tested not only their strength, but their trust in each other. Ayla, with her cunning and knowledge of the arcane arts, disabled mechanisms that could have crushed them in an instant. Lamech, with his immense strength, faced the guardians that emerged from the shadows, creatures that seemed to have come out of nightmares. In the heart of the temple, shrouded in an aura of silver light, stood the weapon. A spear as beautiful as it was terrible, forged from a heavenly metal that shone like fallen stars. It was a divine creation, capable of slaying even the mightiest giants. But as he reached out to touch it, Lamech was overcome with terrifying visions. He saw an apocalyptic future where giants and humans destroyed each other in an endless war, and the spear was the catalyst for that destruction. The weight of the revelation made him recoil, his heart pounding in his chest. Ayla, beside him, watched silently, not fully understanding what he had seen. In that moment, Lamech realized that the spear was not just a weapon, but a choice. Using it could mean the end of everything he had known. In the icy silence of the temple, as the heavenly spear rested on its pedestal, Ayla made her move. Her eyes, once filled with determination, now shone with a calculating coldness. She moved quickly like a shadow, trying to snatch the spear from the hands of fate. But Lamech was there, his imposing body blocking the way, his firm hands gripping the weapon before it could be used against him. The confrontation that followed was not just physical, but an explosion of pent-up emotions. Ayla, her voice shaking with anger and pain, screamed her truth. She had lost everything to the giants, her family, her home, her innocence. Each word was a knife, revealing the hatred she carried in her chest. Lamech, in turn, felt the weight of his own history. Having always lived in the shadow of his famous brother, Lamech began to question his thirst for revenge. Was he so different from the giants who had destroyed Ayla's life? Before they could resolve their differences, the sound of footsteps echoed through the temple. Philistine soldiers, alerted by the intrusion, stormed the premises, armed to the teeth. There was no time for arguments. Lamech and Ayla, united once again by the need to survive, fought side by side, their complementary skills becoming their only salvation. As they fled through the temple's secret passages, the heavenly spear still in their hands, a question hung in the air between them. Could they trust each other, or was betrayal just a matter of time? When Lamech returned to the lands of the giants, the air was charged with a dark and unsettling energy. What had once been a place of pride and strength now seethed with murmurs of war. A new leader had arisen among the giants, a ruthless warrior named Dagon, who promised vengeance against the humans. His words were like fire, igniting the hearts of his brothers, urging them to march to a battle that promised blood and glory. Lamech, however, felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen what the thirst for vengeance could do, not just to humans, but to his own soul. When Dagon confronted him, demanding that he join the cause, Lamech hesitated. His conscience, now awakened by his experiences with Elah, screamed within him. He could no longer be complicit in such destruction. But among giants, doubt is seen as weakness, and weakness is not tolerated. His reluctance was interpreted as betrayal. Stares of distrust and contempt followed his steps, and soon he found himself surrounded by those he had once called brothers. Dagon, his voice hoarse and filled with hatred, declared Lamech an outcast, a deserter who deserved the same fate as the humans he seemed to protect. In the dead of night, as war cries echoed in the distance, Lamech fled once more. Alone, he carried not only the weight of the heavenly spear, but the burden of a choice that could define the fate of two races. He knew that there was no turning back now. High on a lonely hill, beneath a sky heavy with clouds, Lamech found himself face to face with David. The young shepherd who had once slain Goliath was now king, his aura of authority as imposing as the crown he wore. Between them, the air seemed to vibrate with the tension of ages of conflict, of bloodshed and untold stories. David, with a calm that contrasted with Lamech's silent fury, raised his hand in a gesture of peace. His voice, soft but firm, echoed like a whisper of ancient wisdom. Violence only breeds more violence. Every life taken is a seed planted for more pain, more hatred, more war. Lamech felt these words penetrate his soul, stirring the whirlwind of emotions he carried. For a moment, the giant hesitated. The heavenly spear in his hand seemed to weigh more than ever, as if it carried the fate of two races. He could end it all here, avenge his brother, satisfy the thirst for justice that consumed him. But something inside him resisted. Perhaps it was the memory of Elah or the apocalyptic visions the spear had shown him. With a deep sigh, Lamech lowered his weapon. "I will not be the one to continue this cycle," he said, his voice echoing like distant thunder. "But know, David, that the war you so fear will not end easily. The giants will not forget, and blood will cry out for blood." And so Lamech departed, leaving David in silence as the weight of the future hung over them both like a sword ready to fall. And so Lamech's story came to an end, not with a battle cry, but with a silence that echoed down the centuries. His journey, marked by pain, doubt, and ultimately redemption, reminds us that even the greatest conflicts can be resolved by courageous choices. The heavenly spear, once a symbol of destruction, became a beacon of hope, sealing the giant's fate and paving the way for an uncertain but possible future. What do you think about Lamech's sacrifice? Did he make the right choice in renouncing revenge and seeking an end to the cycle of violence? Let us know in the comments what you think about this story and how it resonates with you. If you enjoyed this epic and exciting narrative, please like the video to support us and help us bring you more stories like this. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. Until the next adventure, where the secrets of the past and the mysteries of the future meet.